Great. So, VolunteerMark got started. I've been a volunteer my entire life, and I would always volunteer in high school and college. And then after I graduated from college and moved to Kansas City, I wanted to get connected to the community there and didn't know where to go to find all the different volunteer opportunities that were available. There wasn't really a central website I could go and search based on when I was available and the types of things that I was interested in to see just who's here in Kansas City. So finally, a friend of mine tells me about a volunteer opportunity, and so I go to the organization's website, and all they have is a phone number and an email address. And so I call them and leave messages, and we go back and forth playing phone tag. I'm also sending email, and we finally schedule for me to come for my first day's shift. And so, I go to the inner city, I show up all ready to volunteer, and the person at the front desk explains to me, oh, the volunteer coordinator is out sick. So they didn't know who I was, and they didn't know why I was there, and they ended up sending me home. And so that was my experience where I knew that the organization needed my help, and I also knew that volunteers probably are going to give up at that point. So I just started having a conversation then at that time with the different nonprofit organizations to find out, is this a problem that organizations experience? What system are they using and what tools are available for them? So it turns out that this is a really big problem. It's difficult to screen volunteers and to understand what skills they have and when they're available and be able to appropriately match them with the needs of the organizations. And at the same time, it's difficult to track when people don't show up and how are they involved at the organization. And so it all comes down to communication. And at the same time, scheduling shouldn't be your primary means of communication. It should be to develop a relationship, and so there should be tools around that to make that easier, because the organization needs the reporting for grant funding and also to report that back to donors. So we created VolunteerMark, and our mission is to help nonprofit organizations maximize the volunteer experience. And we do that because through our tools. We have a tool for the volunteers and we have a tool for the organizations. And a volunteer can create a free account and keep track of all of their volunteer commitments in one place. And at the same time, the nonprofit organization has a tool to post the different needs that they have and to work with the volunteers at their organization and manage everything in one place online. We're working with Ronald McDonald House Charities, Catholic Charities, Habitat for Humanity, and a lot of other organizations. And it started in Kansas City, but we are now launching nationwide and have the ability to work with organizations large and small. So for the volunteers, we have a mobile app. It's in the Android marketplace and soon to be in the Apple store. And it's a easy to use app to track the commitments that a volunteer is involved in. And this helps maintain communication with the organization so that the volunteer can accurately communicate with the organization and at the same time understand how they're helping that organization to understand their impact. And organizations have a tool. It's all hosted in the cloud, so it's one place to keep track of the entire volunteer program. And by having this online tool, it really helps organizations to get close to and connect with their volunteers, especially the next generation of volunteers who are raised on technology and expect to have instant communication and the ability to directly engage with the organizations. So we focus on communication, scheduling, and reporting. And since it's all hosted in the cloud, that means that it's turnkey and ready to go. There's no maintenance costs, there's no intensive setup and configuration. It's ready to go out of the box, and it's very easy to use. For communication, we have the ability to organize your volunteers into different groups or signups that they are connected to your organization, and then you can send out mass communication. You can send text messages to all of your volunteers at one time. You can also send emails and also get connected in the way that the volunteer prefers to be contacted. We integrate with social media, and at the same time, we're sending automatic reminders for when a volunteer is signed up so they know exactly where they're supposed to go and when. For scheduling, we can handle any scheduling needs at an organization. For example, if you are organizing one-time events such as an annual fundraising event, you can create that and break that down into the different shifts at that day with its own time and position description. And you can specify how many volunteers that you need for that shift. And once that need has been filled, it will not enable any other volunteers to sign up. So it makes it very easy to track um, who's involved and with what. At the same time, you can create a complete scheduling if you have opportunities that you need every day or every week or every month. You can create one time that volunteer need and schedule it to recur whatever makes sense for your organization. And so you can see in the calendar where volunteers only see what's still available. So you won't recruit volunteers where you do not need them. And the last piece that we focus on is reporting. So you always have access to the data that you need for grant funding or your annual reports. And it's unrestricted. You can have unlimited data storage. And we also display this in a visual format that's easy to understand. And you can export this data and also import at any time. So for organizations, we are freeing up their time so that they're not spent on data entry or any kind of manual labor. We are increasing the volunteer experience that volunteers have so that reduces the number of volunteer turnover, and by improving the efficiency, it's going to save your organization costs and at the same time maximize the impact that you're able to deliver to the community. So we really work with organizations large and small, and whatever needs that you might have. We want to listen to what you're faced with and come up with a solution that works for you. We've built this tool by a very simple starting point, and then we just had conversations with our customers to find out what are they trying to accomplish, and we want to partner with them and to improve our product so that everyone can work together and really focus on the services that you're providing to the community and not spending all your time in spreadsheets and other data entry tasks. So we have great customer service. You can call, email, any way that you can reach us, and we want to hear from you and know how we can improve our service and product. Every new account comes with a 30-day launch period, which there's no obligation. It's completely free, and we will help with onboarding, setup, training, and also with our customers, we review new features with you based on what you would like to see added to the product. And we do that very quick turnaround time. Every 2 weeks, we're coming out with new updates, and we want you to really be a part of that so that everyone can really have the best product possible. And it's a really great opportunity with it being January of 2014 to really start off the year with a brand new system that's going to be something that your volunteers really enjoy. So now I just wanted to quickly dive into the app itself. And of course, if people have questions at all, I'm happy to show a specific feature, but basically just wanted to show exactly what this looks like. So Here you can see this is our demo site, so it's not actually real content, but it's here for purposes of testing around. Um, you can see that on the homepage we list the different volunteer opportunities, and a volunteer can customize what they want to look at based on their location, when their date of availability is, or the type of the volunteer need. So you can click on any one of those volunteer opportunities and learn more about the responsibilities and expectations of it. I can find out more about the organization, and of course find out their address and contact information. This opportunity, all opportunities have their own unique URL, so you can send that directly to your list. If you have a mailing list or wanted to invite an individual, you can just copy and paste that and take them directly to your online sign up. Also, you can just click share and it will post it on your Facebook page, or you can also tweet it. Each organization, they have their own landing page as well, with information about that organization and the breakdown of the volunteer opportunities that are available. So you could, on your website, just send a link to the VolunteerMark page where it lists an online catalog of what's available for volunteers to sign up and get involved. And you can break that down into the various programs that you offer, and even have their own logo and identity within your organization. So, for example, if I was interested in delivering meals, I could see this opportunity and click on it to learn more about what this entails, and click on the program to learn more about the specific program within this organization. And if this looks like something I'm interested in, I can view the calendar to see when I am needed, and I can click on the dates that I'm interested in that work in my schedule. So this makes scheduling very easy because the volunteer now has a tool to sign up, and we don't have to go through one person at the organization to assist with scheduling. So I'm already logged in as an organization here, but if I were to not be logged in and want to sign up, I can choose the date that works for me. And you can also post different consent and release agreement, anything that you want to store rather than having a paper document that the volunteer needs to sign. You can have a checkbox to ensure that the volunteer agrees with whatever policy you may have. And so this way, it enables your organization to go completely paperless and keep a history of who signed off on what. So I must agree to that in order to apply. And then now I just need to log in with an account. I can log in directly with Facebook or through Google. If I already had a VolunteerMark account, I can just log in, or I could register a new account, and it's that easy. So I already have a volunteer account, so I'll just log in. So that takes me to my volunteer dashboard. So we're looking at what a volunteer sees. And I can see that this volunteer has already submitted 5.5 hours that are up for review. And 2 of those hours have been approved. And I can't remember which, I signed up for the 4th. So I can see here what I signed up for and see that I'm in a pending status. So what that means is that the organization that I signed up for just now received an email explaining that there's a new volunteer that has signed up for that particular opportunity. So the organization has the opportunity to approve or deny that request, and that will be communicated to me, the volunteer. I can see the other things that I might have been signed up for. I can see my favorite organizations down here that I'm working with, and then I can go out and search for new opportunities or new organizations. So from a volunteer, this is all the information that we collect on them, and they can put a profile image, include their first and last name, email, cell phone, date of birth, t-shirt size, address, and emergency contact information. Plus, we ask the volunteer for what causes are they interested in, and they can choose the types of organizations that they want to work with. And at the same time, the organization can include what skills they have to offer, and we are helping to match them up with the organizations that require these specific skills. The volunteer can also choose which school or business that they are affiliated with, um, and they can specify if they're court mandated or not, and why they're interested in volunteering. And lastly, they choose their availability. So they can mark off which mornings, afternoons, and evenings they're available and how many hours they'd like to serve. And lastly, we are working on the ability to send a weekly digest email to the volunteers that matches based on their availability and the causes that they're interested in with the organizations that have a opportunity that they would be interested in. So we will compile all of that and send it into one email and deliver that to our network of volunteers if the volunteer elects to receive that. And at the same time, if a volunteer, for example, a high school student, is interested in finding a volunteer opportunity but does not necessarily know what they're looking for, they can mark that they would like to be recruited. And this now enables organizations to search for them and to invite them to work with their organization. So it really gives volunteers the tools to actively go out and find what they're looking for, and at the same time to sit back and let the organizations contact them as a need is matched. So now what we can do is we can switch to look at what the organization can view. And oh, so I was logged in as a volunteer. I'm just going to log in now as an organization, and let's do open hand. And our website is SSL encrypted and password protected, and so all your data is secure and restricted access. Also, you own all of your own data, and so you can cancel at any time, and you can export your data whenever you would like to do that. So now you can see this looks very similar to the volunteer dashboard, but we have some additional tools here that an organization will need. So we can see the calendar of the created opportunities that we have, and you can also manage your organization by program or department. And each program then can include a logo, its name and description, and its own address if it has that. And so you can see that we've created 4 different programs. And if we look at our organization that's public, you can see that those are the programs that are listed here. So when we create our volunteer opportunities, they will fall under those categories. So for example, this data entry is with our department, which is administration. And a department just means that that's kind of an internal way of grouping together your volunteer needs. So what we could do is we could see who signed up. We see that we have 2 signed up, and we're still actively recruiting 8. And anywhere where you see a person's name, you can click on it and see their profile. I can see that they have 1.5 approved hours with 0 pending. I can see all the things that they've signed up for in the past. I can view what skills they have and the causes they're interested in, and when they are available. I can also leave private notes, anything I want to keep on file about this individual. And save that. So that way, when Brett signs up for something in the future, we'll know exactly who that is and be able to create a much closer relationship with that person. If I wanted to, I could back them out of this position, and that would free up that slot for a different volunteer to sign up. I can also add hours for those volunteers. I could also send a text message to all of the volunteers signed up for that particular need. And finally, I can add my own volunteers if they do not have a VolunteerMark account. I could create a record on their behalf and manage this without Brett actually having his own VolunteerMark account. Um, and the same thing goes true with events on the calendar. I can see everything that's happening on Thursday and see a breakdown of who signed up to volunteer. And again, I can send text messages to them and do the same actions here, which makes it really easy if you're trying to coordinate a lot of different shifts happening. You can also create one-time events that I touch base on where you would specify the location and the time, and then you could break it down into individual shifts for that particular day. And then you have some high level statistics at the top. The notifications here, so every time an action is taken on VolunteerMark, the organization is receiving an email that communicates that there's action required. So when John Smith signs up for data entry, I get an email, and I can log in and see who John Smith is and see, has he worked with us before? No. Okay, this is a new volunteer. I might want to give him a call and have an interview. And then when I decide that yes, I would like to work with him, you just click approve, and now John Smith received an email explaining that he's been approved and is now a part of your dashboard. So now we have 3 people signed up. In the same way, people can sign up for a lot of shifts at the same time, and you can approve or deny all of those. If you like to deny somebody for whatever reason, you can click on deny and specify your own custom message. And that will send that directly to that volunteer and open up that slot for somebody else to apply. And also, volunteers can submit their hours, and you can approve, modify, or deny those hour requests all through this one tab. You can also view all of the volunteers that are working with your organization. So a volunteer can sign directly up for a particular position at your organization, or they can just join your organization, and that includes their name right here so that you can manage them, especially through sending text messages and email communication. Plus, you can log their hours and be able to really understand who's contributing what to your organization. One of the features we have is you can select multiple people and add a tag, and this will group them together. So I've already added summer interns and retired, but we could also include a new tag that you can put whatever you want here. So we could say that these are our best volunteers. And so that will save this tag with them. And now we can come over to our communications tab, and we can send an email and type in best volunteers, and it will pull up all of those volunteers that match that tag. At the same time, we could also type in the name of a position. So we have our, admin. You could do it by department that you have. You can do it by the position name that you have. Data entry, there we go. So you can type that in, and it will send out an email to everyone that's signed up for that particular thing, so that you can really target your communication so that the volunteers that need to know, and the ones that aren't involved in that way, you're not over communicating with them. You can also do the exact same thing for text messages, and you can also break down all of your statistics by program and department and manage. You really keep track of how your program's growing over time. So the information that we have for organizations is their name, their logo, the cause that um, your organization is affiliated with, and this is again there so that we can best match the volunteers that are interested in the cause that you're with. Also, you can give your own overview or mission statement about what you're doing and your address and website. We also have the ability to enter your bank account information. And what this does is it adds a widget on your organization's page that volunteers can directly make a donation to your organization. And we don't charge for this. We just use a service called Stripe, which is a lot like PayPal, and they charge 2.9% plus 30 cents on the transaction. So um, you would just pay that fee and have access to all those online donations. You can also have as many admin users as you would like, and it's as easy as just adding them right here in your dashboard. And so you can have everyone at your organization with a login that can manage your entire volunteer program. So that essentially concludes our presentation. Does anyone have any questions at this time? Feel free to either raise your hand or to type the message if you have any specific questions. It's really easy to get started. You would just go to VolunteerMark.com and click on this orange button, free trial, and you can get started within 2 minutes and be up and running with your own volunteer management on VolunteerMark. Hi, Christine, do you have a question? Oh, okay, it looks like there's a question. Can you link your volunteers from your organization's site? Um, you could export if you have a list of volunteers. Yes, you can import a list of volunteers so that they are going to automatically feed into your VolunteerMark dashboard. And that's as easy as, well, you can download the sample file here. And we just ask for the first name, last name, email, and cell phone number. And then, sorry, I've got a lot of windows open here. And then you could just import that spreadsheet once you had it in that format, and that would directly pull that into your VolunteerMark dashboard. You can get started if you already have all this information, and when you import, you have the option to invite them to VolunteerMark so that they are able to receive that email and get started with their own account right away. And so that way it links it. Oh, hopefully you could hear my question. I see you have another question, Christine. Um, oh, okay. Yes. So the signups themselves, what you can do is, if we come to our organization's page here, then each of your volunteer opportunities, you could just link to this address right here, which lists the complete listing of volunteer opportunities. That's one way you could link to the signups. Or each signup has its own URL at the same time. So you could just link from your website to this URL, and that way volunteers can go directly to your online signup and get started. So you could create that as a button and it would take you here. But I like your suggestion of a calendar that you could embed. And we are working on a widget that you could just paste directly into your website, and it would automatically feed in all of the opportunities so that as you your VolunteerMark opportunities are changing, that's automatically being populated on your website. So that's a feature that is in the pipeline. But for now, you can just copy and paste the links that you'd like to promote. Um, but we could certainly embed that to make that even easier. Mm-hmm. No problem. Um, does anyone else have any questions? Are there any other questions? Uh, like I mentioned at the beginning, here's my contact information. Feel free to give me a call um, and or send me an email or just get started at volunteermark.com. And we really do view this as a partnership. And so if there's specific things that you're trying to accomplish, um, just let me know and we can talk about it. And you can really be a part of the future of where this application goes, because we don't want to just kind of add a bunch of things that we think are cool. We want to make sure that that's coming directly from the need of the organizations using it. And chances are, you know, um, other organizations will benefit. And so we're trying to create one tool that's in the cloud that everyone can use and not have to, create your own custom solution over and over, because that's very costly and difficult to maintain. But this way, it's really taking the power of web applications, and so that it's always accessible to you and updated and um, something that everyone can use the same tool. So I think that basically concludes it. I'm glad I was able to keep this relatively short. I know I kind of said a lot of stuff, and I'm sure there's lots of things that I forgot to go over, but that's kind of the gist of how our application works. And so we're partnering with different corporate groups and schools and churches and really even the government appointed community service needs that are out there, so that everyone kind of has one place where they can find exactly what's going to be the best match for them, and to have the authentic service hour history. That's one thing I did not mention, which is definitely worth taking a look at. So the volunteers are submitting their hours and the organizations are approving them. And so the volunteers can create a certificate. Just click one button and it generates a report with all of their approved hours. And then they could just print this off and give to their teacher or to their employer. And the employer can scan this QR code to confirm that it is valid, or they could type in this unique URL. And in that way, we're eliminating the need to track down signatures, and really makes that process very easy. And in fact, if students are interested in working with organizations that aren't a part of VolunteerMark, they can even invite organizations in, and the organizations can create a free account, which enables them to approve, modify, or deny service hours, but they can't really see the access to the reporting and communication tools and scheduling tools that we have. But it is a nice way that gives the tool to the volunteer to be able to keep track of validated service hours all in one place, and again, eliminate the need for the paperwork. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the session. Again, I thank you so much for attending. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'd love to hear from you and find out more about your organization and how we could partner together to maximize the volunteer experience. So thank you.